In this video, I'm going to reveal the 3 types of buyers that you need as a beginning wholesaler. So that way you can feel confident knowing that you have an outlet to be able to sell your property. Because if you are speaking with property owners and you're spending money on marketing, then you want to be able to know that, hey, if you find a good deal, you're going to be able to make money from it. Not only are you going to be able to recoup your marketing costs, but also you're going to be able to make a commitment to a property owner and have a high degree of certainty that you're going to be able to follow through on your commitment. Because although, not every property that you put on the contract you're going to be able to sell, you want to be as sure as possible that there's a way for you to be able to sell a property and be able to help a particular owner out. Because if you don't have that capability, then that's going to affect you in your confidence level and in your ability to want to go out and do marketing for real estate. And what I'm going to suggest you here is that I'm not looking for you to go out and build a buyer's list of 100 people or 50 people. What I'm looking for you to have is just a handful of people that are going to give you the most leverage and give you the most confidence to be able to get the ball rolling. And then as you progress and as you continue in this business, you can continue to grow that buyer's list, and you should always grow that buyer's list. But what I want to do is give you a starting point that now you can then begin to work from. So let's talk about the first type of buyer that you're going to need, and that is a wholesaler. And when you're starting out brand new, what's important is that you get deals done. And so yes, when you're working with another wholesaler, you're going to give up part of your profits, but that's okay, because in the beginning you want deals done. Now, what I'm going to say is that you're not going to need, to speak with or have, 5 or 10 different wholesalers. I recommend two wholesalers, and I recommend 2 because 2 is better than 1. So you don't have that single point of failure. And what you're going to do is you are going to reach out to other wholesalers in your market and explain to them that you're going to go out and be finding property deals. Oops. I had to pause the video for a moment because the security guard in our development was coming through. So what I would do is reach out to other wholesalers, and you can find them on Craigslist. You can look for properties, say handyman special, cash property, cash buyers, and find them on Craigslist. You can find them in the buy and sell groups. You can find them in the Facebook Marketplace. There's so many places to find them. And what you're going to do is you're just going to say, hey, look, I am going to be doing some marketing to be able to find deals, and I don't have a buyer's list. If I have a deal, legitimately a good deal, is that something that you could help me move? And now the next question is to ask him, well, how do you normally work in this scenario? Now, what you want to try to avoid is someone who wants to do the deal with you and wants 50% of the deal. It's not ideal. And so typically you want somebody that'll say, look, depending on the deal, it could be somewhere between $3,000 to $5,000 that I want on the deal. That's ideal. Now, if the deal is a small deal, let's say you have a deal that's you're only going to make like $3,000 or $5,000, then the likelihood is you're going to have to split that deal. But if you're going to have a deal that you're going to make, $15,000, $20,000, you don't want to split that. And if they say, well, I need to split the deal, I said, well, I wasn't looking to split the deal. Mind you, have a lot of marketing costs. I'm investing a lot of money in marketing campaigns, so 50% wouldn't really fit for me. And if what I would say is typically depending on the deal, you'd be willing to pay $3,000 to $5,000. Is that something that they would consider? You're going to find somebody that says yes to that proposal. So now, having 2 of those, now you're going to have a couple things here. You're going to have somebody that can help you when you have a deal on the contract, that now you can then use them as a distribution channel and be able to get the property sold. Also, too, at the same time, you might be able to find someone that you can bounce a deal off of and say, look, I've got this deal. I'm going to put it on the contract for X, and was curious if you feel that you can move it. Now, that is not ideal. I'd rather you go to the wholesaler already having a deal in hand, because if you come to them beforehand and get their advice, and they're going to feel that they're going to obligate you to say, hey, you need to come back to me with this deal because I helped you in order to analyze it and really determine if it's a deal. If you have to do that in the beginning because you don't really know what you're doing, that's fine. But in the end, you want to be able to have a contract in hand, deal in hand, go to the wholesaler and say, hey, look, here's what I got. Would you be able to help me with this? And what kind of arrangement we can have? And off to the races you go. The second type of individual that you want on your buyer's list is a couple of realtors that are used to working with real estate investors, that are used to working and know and understand how assignments work. And again, the reason why I'm proposing a wholesaler and a realtor is the fact that you have people with distribution, right? So in other words, if I'm dealing with one wholesaler, then he has a list of prospects, then now you are tapping into not just one person. That one contact is now worth, it could be worth 50 or 100 people, right? Because now, because of the fact that they have distribution. The same thing with a real estate agent. If you're working with a real estate agent that has a lot of clients that are looking for deals, and now you're tapping into that one real estate agent that now has a bunch of different property, a bunch of different investors that they can tap into, that you can tap into. And again, where to find those realtors? You can find them in the same way that you find the wholesalers. You're going to come across them. Go to the local RIA or go to the local real estate association website, and you can find maybe agents that are advertising there as vendors, and put yourself in a position where now you're going to be again dealing with a real estate agent that is used to dealing with investors, like dealing with investors, and now you've opened up your distribution channel. So the next set of investors that you want is a combination of maybe a couple of rehabbers, 2 or 3 rehabbers, 2 or 3 people that are interested in rental property. So because you're buying distribution with those, with the wholesalers, and you're buying distribution, and I say buying meaning that you're going to get them involved in the deal. They're going to go ahead and you're going to get them involved in the deal. You're going to pay them for being able to sell the deal for you. So you're in essence buying distribution. But when all is said and done, you still want contact with a real buyer, because that is critical for you to know firsthand opinions about the property and the situation. Because when you're dealing with a wholesaler or you're dealing with a real estate agent, you're getting kind of secondhand information about the property, what the situation is, do they like it, do they not like it. So it's always good to be able to speak directly with a buyer that you can have a conversation with. And especially in the beginning, in those conversations, you got to be able to gather information with these buyers. So if you're dealing with a rehabber and you tell them about the property and they say, no, this is not for me, question to ask them is, hey, is it not for you because of the area, or is it the price? What's really the issue? Many times it's the price. And you could tell them, hey, look, you're not going to offend me if you tell me exactly what the situation is. I want to know because it helps me be better, or maybe I can do something to help with the situation. And at the end of the day, you want to be able to just get feedback from them. And so it's hard to do that when you're dealing with a wholesaler, because a wholesaler may not have the time, may not get feedback at all from his buyers anyway. And so you're kind of shooting in the dark. And ideally, you'd want to just be able to, the buyer tells you, hey, it's just too much money. Then the next question is, okay, well, how much would you pay for this property? Okay, great. That unfortunately, it's a little bit more than, I wish I would have bought the property at that price, but I bought it for more money than that. However, I can keep you in mind in the event that I can get a price reduction. I'll come back to you. So that's just a way for you to get feedback on, hey, pricing, what the properties are in that particular area or region. And especially if you are doing virtual wholesaling, or maybe you're starting out and you really don't know the pricing, then having that feedback is really, really important. By the way, how do you like my Christmas lights here? We're missing that tree over there. So this whole process of putting this buyer list together shouldn't take any more than a couple of days, 2 to 3 days at the most. Again, remember, I'm not asking you to go out and build this humongous buyers list. All I'm asking you to do is build a very small number of very strategic buyers that now is going to give you confidence in terms of your ability to be able to move properties. And again, you should be building your buyers list as you move along in the process, just so that you can not be dependent on anybody else. Now, how do you keep track of your buyers list? This is just kind of a quick tidbit for you, how to keep track of your buyers as you're putting them together and getting all the information. I recommend using the simplest, most economical way to keep track of your buyers list initially, and that is using Google Docs. You set up a Google Docs with your buyer information, if they're a wholesaler or if they are a real estate agent, what are they interested interested in, and just keep track of them that way. Nothing complicated. At the end of the day, you can, if you've got a list of 50 people, 100 people, you can email them, put them in the BCC field, and email them from Gmail. Don't make it complicated. Don't try to set up a MailChimp and all this other stuff, when you've just starting out. Why complicate that? So that is the other thing that I would recommend you. One thing I forgot to mention to you is that when you are speaking with buyers, how do you tell if they're the real deal? How do you know if they're gonna, really perform for you, or are they just feeding you a bunch of hot air? That's very difficult because there's a lot of hot air in our industry, and so there are certain signs that a buyer is a legitimate buyer or not a legitimate buyer. And so what I want to do is I want to recommend you watch one of my videos that talks about what I consider to be kind of a false flag when it comes to buyers. And that is if you are asking a buyer for a proof of funds, then that might be an issue. So I want you to watch this video here that talks about, hey, what is the issue with a proof of funds letter that you get with a buyer, and why it is that a lot of those proof of funds letters really are not worth the paper that they're printed on and or the PDF that they come in, because of the fact that anybody can get those. And so make sure you take a look at that. And again, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, give me a comment, let me know if this video was helpful to you.